Hey everybody. Today we're going a bit deeper into the distinction that we explored yesterday between me as this identity, this idea of self that I believe myself to be, and me as this presence or beingness, this life that is all that remains when belief and thought fall away. And we're going to look at learning from that perspective, because when it comes to change, we think, me, Claire, have to be different. I have to acquire new things, or I have to change the world, or I have to bring in these new skills. I have to do stuff differently, and then everything will be okay. And if we look at a baby, if we look at how we were as babies, it's so cool to see that from one moment to the next, there was a skill not present, and then it was present. So crawling couldn't happen, and then it was happening. Walking couldn't happen, and then walking was happening. Talking wasn't available, and then talking was happening. And all of this was happening completely devoid of idea of self. There was no identity driving that learning. The learning was just happening. Skills were being acquired, information was coming in and being processed, like the most supercomputer in the world, like processing of information to learn, for this body to learn, to make its way around the world, unstoppable learning, and none of it to do with a self-identity. And in fact, it becomes really clear that the self-identity is a learned thing, just like maths at school, or French, or how to walk. It's a learned idea, and so when we see that identity is not the thing powering the change, we realize that the only thing that remains when all of the beliefs about ourselves, the thoughts, the idea of needing to be something else, when all of that goes, all that remains is this presence, this life that we are. And that brings us on to something very cool as well, is that we see that life, that presence, is constant, is always the same. That doesn't change. The life in the baby is no different from between the day that it's not making sounds that sound like words to the day that it is. The life is the same. Or the consciousness, if we want to look at it that way, the consciousness in which all of this appearing is the same. And so this is, it's a nice paradox, really, because what we realize then is that none of the form, the appearance of the form, isn't ever the thing. It's always so. A baby crawling could be observed by 100 people with 100 different reactions to that crawling. Mum could be saying, brilliant, the baby's crawling, she's such a star. The dad could be thinking, why is she only crawling now? She should have been crawling 3 months ago. A friend could be jealous that that baby's crawling and her own isn't crawling. 100 different reactions to the crawling. So the crawling, the form, the skill, the appearance is never ever a fixed, real, objective thing. That's never the thing that has any truth to it, really. The truth is in the life that is allowing that whole scene, that whole film of a baby crawling to unfold. It's allowing crawling to be to appear as form, but it's temporary, that form. It's always transient. It's 100% dependent on perception. And so this is a profound shift now from emphasis always on the form. How am I doing? Compared to them? What are they like? How can I make myself okay? To just the realization that the only truth is the beingness, is the presence or aliveness. And learning is going to happen all the time, constant. Information is going to come in and this body is going to respond to it. But what is so exciting is that the response to information, the response to the form, becomes less and less about this idea of self, this identity that has to protect itself, that has this story that can't let go of the story. That is who I am. It becomes less the learning, and the response is less and less from that place, because that's just falling away. It's not true. It's not who we are. And instead it comes from this space of total freedom, total peace, total lack of blame and need. So like flowers, like animals, like all of nature, that life in that form continues to express, continues to adapt and respond, and it's peaceful. It can't be anything but peaceful. And how great. How great. And from that space we see the peace, or we see with peace the times when the response is not peaceful, if you see what I mean. We see how that unfolding, that form, can only ever be perceived. It's not ever a true thing. So the idea of, if only I'd known this earlier, or I shouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have said that if I'd known this. Apologies can happen very easily, and they come without that weight of that should be different, without that resistance to it, because it couldn't be any other way. Yeah, so this is just beautiful. We start really, this is a program of seeing there's nothing on our shoulders. There's nothing we have to do, because the doing is happening, and the learning is happening, and the responding is happening, and all of it is completely free of this defensive idea of me. It's on my shoulders. I have to protect myself. Yeah, so I'll leave you with that. That's quite long, and yeah, see how you feel with that, and we'll speak again tomorrow. Big love. Bye.